Hi there, and one of the most annoying things that can happen on your bike is trying to adjust your front brakes, and no matter what you do, it keeps doing this. Well, what can actually be happening is that the disc rotor itself is wobbling or out of what's called true. So those can get kind of warped, and then one side can be kind of pushing against the brake pad. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can straighten out your disc rotors so that they can be nice and straight and stop rubbing on your brake pads all the time. What you're going to need to do this, ideally, is going to be one of these Park disc truing tools. This is the DT2. This is like what we use in the bike shop. It's got this longer end on the top for deeper bends and this smaller side here for more fine tuning bends. You can also do this just with a crescent wrench. It's a lot more difficult. It's already kind of a difficult thing to do in the first place. So I would recommend getting this little tool here. I'll leave a link in the description below for this. And just be sure anytime you're working on your brakes, don't get your fingers anywhere near the brake rotor when it's spinning. So the way that you can do this is if you grab your disc truing tool right here, and what we're doing is you're looking in between the caliper right here and looking at the rotor and seeing which side, whether it's this side or that side, that it's rubbing on. And you'll have to kind of spin it a bit and look straight down in there and see where it's rubbing. And then on this tool, there's a smaller side and a longer side that you can slot onto the rotor. So I'm literally slotting this onto the rotor so I can bend it. And then you can also slide the bigger part onto the rotor and bend it. Most of the time for kind of fine tuning, it's easier to use this side right here. And sometimes when you look straight down in there, if you hold a piece of paper up behind it, you can see a little better and try to find the gap between the rotor and the pads and see which side that it's bending towards. So for mine, it's bending right about here and it's bending this direction. So I need to bend the rotor back that direction, but not bending it way out here. I need to bend it right here. So I want to spin it out to that area that it was really bent and actually put the tool on it. And I'm literally bending the rotor. And you always want to do this kind of in little increments because it's really easy to overbend these rotors and screw this up even worse. So just find where the rotor's bent by spinning it in the wheel and watching right down in there. And just be careful not to put your fingers in the rotor when it's spinning. You just want to kind of look down in there and see right where it's rubbing. So mine right now is rubbing right at this part right here, and it's rubbing away from the wheel. So I need to bend this section of rotor towards the wheel. So you basically kind of mark where that is, spin it back out towards you a little bit, put your tool on it, and literally bending the rotor physically towards the wheel that direction. And just do it a little at a time, and you should start noticing it getting better and better. And you can hear for right where it's rubbing. So for me, it's rubbing right about there still. And it's still rubbing on this pad on this side. So I still need to bend that part of the rotor towards the wheel. You just take it and bend it a little bit. And then spin it again. And it's getting better. And sometimes what can happen is if you bend it, if you take this rotor and you bend it too far in that direction, then it'll start rubbing on the pad on the other side. And then you got to bend that section back. That's why you always just want to bend it a little bit at a time, not go too far, or you can really get your rotor all screwed up in there and it's just wobbling all over the place. And at that point, if it's just too far gone, you might need to get a new rotor. But if it's just one little section that's rubbing, it's pretty easy to just figure out where that section is by rolling it and looking right down in there. And if you, like I said, if you need help, you just put some paper behind it and you can kind of see and look for just what pad it's rubbing on, whether it's rubbing on the outside one or the inside one. What part of the rotor is rubbing. Find exactly where that spot is. So mine's still rubbing a tiny bit right there, and it's rubbing on this outside pad. And then you just want to rotate that spot out so that you're bending right where it was rubbing. And then I bend that part in a little bit. So now I'm bending it in this direction and spin it again. Now you can see I've bent it enough just in that one spot that it's rolling nice and free. And that's all you got to do. Hope that helps. Hopefully now that can help you get your brakes a little bit better, just knowing that you can actually bend those rotors out. I have a whole playlist right here on other things that you can do with your bike. I think it's on my face, isn't it? The playlist is on my face. Well, if you like this video, please give it a like. If you want to see more on how you can work on your bike, just click my face.